I'm going to do a quick review on this light bulb here. Now, I've been buying some of the high efficiency, high wattage bulbs for a long time, and they came out with this thing, so I kind of had to have it. It's a 500 watt replacement, has diodes in the top also, and it says that it runs at 100 watts. I don't know for sure. It says it'll save $1,000. I don't know if that's per year or the lifespan of the light bulb. Sometimes they trick you, and that $1,000 is actually for the lifespan of the bulb. Some of them it's per year, but that'd be the best way to go about it. People want to decide whether or not they're going to use a certain bulb. Okay, so there's that. But anyway, it says it's 100 watts. I'm going to put that to the test and see if it is in fact drawing 100 watts or more. And if you want to see how bright this thing is, I do have one hooked up here. Let me turn off all these other lights. I've got some of these other high efficiencies also. I don't know if you can see how bright it is in here, but that glaring ball of fire on the ceiling there is one of these diode lights that I have hooked up. Probably the brightest thing I've ever had as far as a bulb. Not sure how the camera's going to deal with this, but it is definitely a lot brighter than what you're seeing in the camera there. The program is obviously adjusting for brightness, but it's pretty bright. I have two of them that I usually run in here, plus all. So that is about what they look like. I'm gonna go ahead and hook one up, and we're going to see what the actual wattage consumption is. I'm also going to post a link to this light bulb. Also, if you hit this link, it'll take you to a bunch of other different versions. Just with a simple click, you ain't got to type in a bunch of stuff. It says 25,000 hours. I've had these about a year now, almost a year. I think I got them in January, and it is now October. So I haven't had any problems with them yet. I do think they get kind of hot. I almost wanted to install a fan on this thing just to see if I could get them to cool down a little bit, because I just feel like it's eventually going to burn itself up. But it hasn't yet. I'm just kind of skeptical of some of these. This is a kilowatt watt meter, and we're going to check the amperage. It's running at 0.8 amps. It says 0.900 milliamps, so this meter could just be inaccurate enough to where it can't give us the actual reading. It says 96.4 watts. It hasn't quite heated up yet, so maybe that will change the amount of current it draws. I doubt it, but if anything, you would think it would go down. So that's the wattage. Here's the volts, amps, which is about 100 as advertised, but that's the actual wattage with the power factor considered. As you can see here, it's got a 0.97 power factor, so that's why it's not showing the exact 100 watts there. If it was 100% power factor, then you'd be at 100 watts, or you would be at the 98.6 watts. That's the difference between the two. The power factor is not in this particular figure, but when you hit this button, it uses the mathematical functions that generate the actual wattage value in an AC circuit. Because of the sine wave, it's not a constant current flow. The current flow is constantly going up and down in an AC system 60 times a second. So some systems have a lot more impedance than others. I think impedance is the cause of power factor. I could be wrong. I'm not necessarily real big into the electronics, but yeah, that's where we're at. 0.8 amps, actually at 95 watts, and it says it's a 500 watt replacement. So I do have a 500 watt bulb here. It's not in the same configuration, and I'm not going to take the time to take one of these bulbs and hook it up to where it's out in the air like that. But what I am going to do is turn off all the lights here except for that one. Get an idea how bright it is with just this light on. And it's not too bad. Kind of dingy and dungeony for me, but I don't know, that just doesn't feel like 500 watts to me. Maybe it is. I don't have a lumens meter, so I'm definitely not equipped to be posting a review on light bulbs. Man, that thing, I don't know. I know the placement is completely different, so I can't really look at it over here. I need to just kind of look at this side. Kind of hard to say. I really wish I had a lumen meter. One thing I can tell you about this 500 watt bulb is the amount of heat that it cranks out is so severe you can actually use it to heat the garage in the wintertime. So you're not going to want to run this thing in the summer. This is a 500 watt bulb. Let's see what it's actually drawing. It's actually only pulling 468 watts. Now that could be due to the fact that this bulb's been in there a while and the terminals have corroded, reducing the amount of current flow. But that's what we're getting for 467 watts, 3.8 amps for that. So what I'll do is I'm going to take that lamp and I'm going to set it up here where this thing is, and we're going to try to get a capture of this light versus the other light. It's not really fair due to the fact this thing's putting the light off in all directions. So, and the camera's doing all kinds of weird stuff, so the wavelength of light may be affecting the actual perspective, which I didn't pay very much attention to as I was looking through the camera, not the actual environment. I want to say this is definitely putting off more light, but it's not inside of a shell like the other one is. So we're getting, like, no matter what, we're getting more light out of that thing. And plus, like I said, if it's somewhere you don't want to heat the room up and cause a fire hazard, it definitely outdoes this 500 watt bulb here. So would I buy another one of these? I probably will continue to buy these. I definitely like these things. They put off a lot of light for hardly no energy. And with just two of those in this garage, that's 200 watts of lighting power in this garage. So I'm definitely into that. But of course, I'm kind of a weirdo when it comes to lights. I intend to get way more lighting in here than this. This is typically where I run. This is kind of, my girlfriend hates this. There's just nothing better than having a bright workshop to work in. This is still considered kind of dark to me. When you're really working on stuff, you really want it bright. Especially when you're trying to look at little tiny tedious scratches on metal. I want to paint these walls white. That ought to brighten it up in here a little bit. But there's still not enough to light the garage the way I like it. You may be a completely different person as far as that, but I still run a significant amount more of lighting than that. So, but that's just as I said, I'm usually messing with some tedious stuff where you want to be able to see the smallest of cracks or scratches or, you know, things like that. Looking, inspecting solder joints and things of that nature. So there you have it. I would definitely recommend checking out this link and seeing what the current price is. Maybe it's went down. You might even be able to find a used one. I'd probably buy a used one of these. I think that the entire brim of that thing, this is all aluminum cooling fin. So they do have some pretty significant convection cooling for them. I do like that.